Alright, I've got another PSA Returns here today, and this one is actually a Ludkins US return. So for those who have been in the same boat with me, they know that this sub has been a long time coming. There's actually two Ludkins subs. I got two submissions back from Ludkins this month. I still have a ton left with them. I'm sure that'll continue to trickle back. But yeah, these cards have been away from me for a really long time. I got one a few weeks ago, and I figured I would just wait until the bigger one came back. We've got all kinds of cards in here since it is two subs. Japanese Pokemon, a lot of vintage, and then some English Pokemon, and even some like vintage English Yu-Gi-Oh! So there's a ton of variety in here. We've got some kind of like a sunset over Mount Fuji here because I'm taking this video pretty late at night. Even the delivery of this sub was late. Every single thing about this submission was extremely late. I think these went out to Ludkins. Well, at least the larger of the two subs went out to Ludkins, I think in December of 2020, so 2 years ago. And then the latter, the most recent one, I think went out late February, early March, right as PSA was shutting their doors through Ludkins, and I finally got them back this month. So I'm just going to get into them. I looked at the cards. I like to usually look at the grades ahead of doing these videos just so I have a bit more context as I'm going through, but I just wanted to film the video right away because there are a lot of fantastic grades in here for me and my personal collection. So yeah, let's just get into it. First up, start with the vintage Pokemon. Got a Muck here from Fossil. I submitted this just like on a whim. It seemed pretty mint, except obviously the centering is very, very off-center. So I was hoping for like a 9OC grade on this. It's not like something that I personally go after, but I bought a few bulk lots, and I just noticed this Muck had a really insane off-centering going on. I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess the centering is the reason why it might have gotten the 6. And it wasn't qualified enough to get like the 9OC. This is like a very off-center card, so maybe I'll take another look at it. It's pretty hard to get those OC grades. I might take another crack at it. Yeah, there's a Muck. All right, up next, another Fossil Holo. We have the Haunter, PSA 9. Same source as the Muck. PSA 9 makes sense. That's what I think what I expected going in for this one. All right, up next, we've got a Meganium from the Neo file, I think. Yep, premium file. PSA 9 does have a little something at the top right corner, or top left corner, excuse me, on the front. So we can show that. So yeah, the 9, I don't think I can get it. Maybe you can see, yeah. So yeah, the 9 totally makes sense on this one. Centering is also not perfect. So I sent these off. I think it was like $10 a card. Prices were pretty high back then, so I didn't, not everything I sent was like perfectly mint. So I'm supposed to these vintage cards. This one was though. Everyone's favorite Neo Holo, Jumpluff in PSA 10. Might be a Jumpluff, but these cards are still no joke to grade, so happy to get a 10. Up next, we've got another Neo Holo, Aerodactyl. This is the Japanese holo exclusive. In English, it is only non-holo. This one, it looks like the centering is the main culprit here. It's a little off-center left to right and more considerably off-center top to bottom. I'm not too mad about it just because I was able to grade a 10 earlier this year, so that is scratched off my list. And this is just a nice PSA 9. And I was buying all these Neo Holos raw in Japan like mid to late 2020. All right, next one's a big one for me. We've got the Neo 2 Tyranitar, PSA 10. This is the rookie. I've been like foraying into some of these vintage holos. I have a few WotC holos in English, and I just think they look better in Japanese. They're more vintage looking. I think the graphic design of the Japanese card style just suits them a little bit better. And so I've been kind of collecting some of my old English goals in Japanese for these holos. So I've been going after these like early Tyranitars. I'm a big Tyranitar collector, so really happy to get this. I don't have to pay like $200 or $300 for a gem and copy, and I got to say I graded it myself. Got a big swirl right there in that dark spot. I don't even think I can get it on camera because it's so dark right there. That's eating. There you go. It's like eating it up on camera. The black ink, but you can see it in person. Really cool. Very, very happy with that. Another Neo Hollow I sent off. I think I was paying like 10 to 20 bucks each for these. So pretty nice to get them in a 10. We've got the Dark Gengar. Really cool. PSA 10. That's a very dark card. Not a lot to see there except for his grin. So pretty happy with the 10. It's a big card, really popular. It's probably my favorite Gengar. I'm not really a Gengar collector, but Kusube is really something else, and I think this is probably my favorite Gengar. All right, up next, another Tyranitar, this time snagging the PSA 9. This card I already bought in a PSA 10, so I'm not too worried about it. It looks like it has a little bit of surface wear on the back. Just some scratching right there. So I think the grade totally makes sense. And I admit, like, when I sent these off, I was not as good at pre-grading as I am now. I was probably just like, oh yeah, foil looks clean, you know, nothing crazy going on the surface, and then maybe overlooking some of that surface scratching on the back of the kind of darker areas. But I'm, you know, checking the corners and stuff like that. So getting the 9, no problem, but some of the maybe a little bit harder to pre-grade and expect a 10 for me back then. Okay, on to EX era. Got a 2003, 5,000 points, Players Club, Celebi here, Celebi EX. This is a PSA 5. I'm not surprised. I got this. It's pretty dinged up. It should have a crease somewhere or some kind of indent. It's definitely a played card. I got this on Mercari back in 2020. I think I paid $20, $30. It was a good deal. I was like, I don't care what the condition is. Card looks awesome. I figured I would just grade it. This is the card that now I think I would probably just keep it in a binder. I don't know if I would kind of grade it now, but it looks great in the case. And it's a hard card to find. So maybe one of the rarer cards I own. I mostly collect set cards, so pretty cool. All right, a few more EX Hollows here. This is a big one for me. Big fan of Sceptile art, so really happy to get the PSA 10. It's actually like kind of a big card. It's one of the more expensive EX Hollows. 200 or 300 bucks probably, and very pleased with that. I bought a ton of these, and these were the first couple that I bought. I sent a couple copies. You'll see the next one here in a second. They were great. Sent them out. Every single copy since then has been garbage. Just lots of chipping, lots of scratching. I've been finding that to be the case on EX era new backs in general. So they seem to be a bit harder to grade than maybe some of their like Diamond and Pearl, like Black and White era hollows that I've been going after. So really happy to get that, and not just one but two. I wish one of these was first edition so that I could kind of like have both. They're both unlimited. I don't know if there's a rarer one or a more common one. I just wish I had both, but maybe someone out there wants to trade me. If you got a first edition, I'll send you the unlimited. But yeah, pretty cool. This is my favorite single hollow in EX era. So glad to get them in Japanese. All right, some more Players Club promos. Another Celebi, this time Your Name Celebi, PSA 8. I sent this off thinking it was like really mint, so I'm a bit surprised by the 8. It does look like there is some like lip action going on in the corner. I don't know if I would have missed that, but these cards have been away from me for 2 years, so I'm just happy to get it back, PSA 8 or not. And it's okay, got the 8 on that one, and get the 10 on this one. Beautiful Mew, Nishida art, dust and crap on the case. It's probably been in this case for several months. Wow, look at all the junk. Luckily it's not in the case. There's a lot of junk on the case. Beautiful card, beautiful condition. Not surprised I got a 10. I sent all these Players Club, Your Name hollows thinking they would get 10s. So glad I was right. Next up, we've got the Kyogre. Also get the 10. Such sick art. Like this series, the art is so nuts, so good. Such an expressive Kyogre riding the wave here with the the sun coming through the surf, and it's just so sick. This is such a good mini set to go after. Up next, my favorite species, at least on the list, Groudon. Got the 9 on this one. I'll have to take another look. This is a bit of an expensive card. I mean, it's at least a couple $100. This looks pretty mint, and I might rather just roll the dice again on this rather than try to pay for the 10. Same source as all these other ones. I got them sealed, so you know, I would think, and the centering on this is really good. I would think this would also be a 10, but maybe there's something I missed. I'll take a closer look. And then last but definitely not least, we have the Arita Rayquaza, Your Name Rayquaza. Some people will say this is the best Rayquaza art. It's definitely up there. It's definitely up there for me too. PSA 10, that's a big card. So really happy about that. I got some to the hair. My goodness. Anyway, crud on the case aside, pretty sick. All right, so we've got a ton more to go. Up next, I think it's Victory Medals. Yeah. Victory Medal, Gym Challenge Gold. This is the 2007 version. PSA 10. I bought a few of these. Everyone on E4 was talking about them. I was like, you know what? Screw it. They weren't that expensive. I think I was paying like $20 or $30 at the most. Some of them probably less. And every single one I got just looked so perfect. So I was happy, and I just kind of bought a few and then stopped because I was so certain that they would get 10s. I'm glad I was right, because trying to get them mint raw, like gem mint raw, or buying them in a 10 grade is definitely more expensive now. So happy to get the gold in a 10, and I got another one in a PSA 10. Pikachu giving me the wink there. He knew it was a foregone conclusion the whole time. And another gold PSA 10. I guess I didn't send off any silvers. I think I was like on Mercari looking at them, and they were kind of the same price, and I was just like, why would I buy silver when I can get gold? So just bought 3 gold medals, and that was it. All right, I think these are LP promos. I can't remember. Skull Fossil, PSA 9. This is like one of those, a bit more of an obscure promo, like Holo exclusive in Japan. I had like a buying spree on these kind of like LP promos because I thought they looked so good. I'm a big fan of trainers, like holographic trainers. I'm a big fan, and I like fossil type Pokemon. This one felt like a no-brainer. They were actually kind of expensive when I was buying them, like $40 or $50 a piece. I'm not really sure what they go for now. PSA 9. I think I bought a couple, and this was the best one. Looking at it closely here. I mean, maybe there's something here on the top right corner. I don't know if I'll be able to get it. You know, these new backs, it's usually like, they're either like kind of played or they're like really, really nice. And maybe there's like a little something going on. But it's got a squirrel, pretty cool card. Pretty pleased. Just happy to get it back, frankly. We have the Luxury Ball. This is one that I really want in a 10. The centering leaves a little something to be desired on this copy. You may be able to see. It's not too bad, but that is my guess as to what held it back. I'm not seeing any whitening, scratches. The surface looks nice. No front chipping, which you sometimes see on these later cards. So I would guess that it's more of a centering issue here. But yeah, just I like the, again, holofoil trainers. I'm easy to please, I guess. All right, I had a few of these come back in another sub. I bought a ton of them. I sent them off 2022, and they came back really fast. These are the first ones I sent off. I've got some Battle Road promo of the Garchomp line. Here's the Gibble. This one got a PSA 9. They were all sealed. This one looks perfect, but PSA 9. Next. That's more like it. PSA 10. He's a scrappy looking little fellow. Digging through the dirt. Looking for Gem Mint Pokemon cards, probably. Up next, his big bro. Goodbye. I didn't send any of the lower evolutions in the last sub because I was just like, 15 bucks a card. I'll just send the Garchomps. So I'm glad I got these back, $10 a card, and got these in a 10. So I've got a complete set now, and I can just leave that to rest. If that Gibble had gotten a 9, I'd have 2 complete sets. Such a cool like little trio. I wish the Gibble was Himeno, but it's not. It's only the later 2 evolutions. Speaking of which, we have the Garchomp here. This one also got a PSA 10. I think this is like my 4th copy of this card in a PSA 10. I was like very aggressive buying cards that I thought were mint or gem mint, and I was pretty good with them. And then last but not least, the Garchomp in PSA 9. So I'll have to take a look at the Gibble and the Garchomp. They were all sealed. Oh yeah, this one definitely a 9. It's got a little action. It looks like the cut was a little rough on the corner there, bottom left. You can see that perfectly. It's like, to me, that's like not wear. That's just like the corner was cut. And of course, I think that docks it to a 9. And then that might be wear at top right corner. So this one, PSA 9. All right, this is a set holo randomly in here. You know, it's Blastoise. I probably bought this for like $5. So I was like, yeah, mint Blastoise, sure. Centering's pretty bad though, so I'm not too surprised that this got the 9. You can see top to bottom is not great, and then left to right is real rough. But he's not too bummed about it. He looks like he's pretty happy. PSA 9. All right, and then a few more victory medals. They were talking about victory medals a lot on the forum, and I first saw the Pikachu one, and then I saw the Johto starter set, and I was like, okay, this is what it's all about. So I grabbed some of the Johto starter victory models. This Meganium got a PSA 10. These were more expensive. I think like the Meganiums were like 30 or like 3,000, 4,000 yen, and then everyone was sold out of the Feraligators. So it took me a while to find one, but I did find one, exactly one, and it was Gem Mint. So one and done, don't need to worry about him anymore. I love this art. This looks so cool. It reminds me of like Pokemon Coliseum, where they have like the Johto starters, and this has got that 3D art. Really cool era. Just like the Gen 2 love letter that is Heart Gold and Soul Silver era Pokemon cards, and this is just like a perfect example of that. He's thrilled to have received the victory medal. And then we have a Giratina victory medal as well, also in a PSA 10. These were pretty cheap, and I thought like very slept on when I was buying those older victory medals. I didn't really go after them though, because I was just so fixated on trying to find the Feraligator. I think I probably got this for like $13 or something, Gem Mint 10. And this is back in like summer of 2020. And then the last one from that Japanese Pokemon sub, we have a bunch of crud on the case on this really, really cool Palace book. I graded this 2017 copy in a PSA 10 in one of my earlier subs this year. So I'm not too bummed about missing the 10 on this one because we already have it. Although this is a very nice looking 9. I would imagine that this one is a pretty hard card to grade with that like soft foil border and then the soft foil elements that are probably pretty prone to scratching. Easier though than the older, I think 2013 or 20, I don't know. You have to correct me, but there's an older version with a different card face from a previous era that is way more foiled out and like way more sensitive and much harder to grade. I would expect. I don't have a ton of experience grading them. Okay, that's it for that sub. Then I got another sub back. This one is a bit more mixed. We got first up 2 vintage Japanese promos. We've got the Change Please, or I can't remember. It's like Change or like Touch. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's you know, to celebrate the changing of the card border from the old back style to the E-Series new back style. I think just like it's pretty cool. Like Kamiya art, they're giving a little high five. These both got the 9. I didn't look at them too closely. I bought them sealed. They came in a little 2-pack. I thought they were perfect. They look pretty good. So maybe we'll run them back. I think this one's, the centering's like not perfect, top to bottom, if you can see that. And then centering is pretty tough to gauge on these E-Series cards, especially if they're off center, left to right, and top to bottom like pretty evenly, and they're just kind of like rightward shifted. What I usually go off of is if the top border and the right border are even, then I would like usually just consider the card to be centered, but perhaps this circle bit is a little bit far away from the corner there. Not quite sure, but yeah, pretty cool little duo. Maybe flies under the radar for a lot of people. I think it's a cool promo set. All right, then we have some English Pokemon. These are theme deck holos. I bought these theme decks in 2020, and I foolishly cracked them open, thinking that I would score gem mint grades. I mean, this is a pretty clean 9. It might be a centering issue here, but if it is, it's pretty minor. The decks were running me like $100, $120. They can be a bit harder to find now, maybe, but that's probably about what they'd sell for now, and so like that's a lot of money to spend on a single raw holo, I admit. And then so that's what is that? That's Crystal Guardians, right? I can't remember. Yeah, Crystal Guardians. And then we have the Legend Maker holo. Wait, let me pull that one back. That's pretty cool. It has the Green Cyclo theme deck. That I have not seen that before. It's like Crystal Guardians Green Cyclone. That's pretty cool that they named the deck. And then they didn't name the deck for my Gengar. This one's a PSA 9. Definitely a fair grade on this one. There's a print line that is not easy to see, but he's smiling at it. I wonder if I can... Well, you'll just have to take my word for it. There is a print line right there. Pretty minor, but definitely, in my opinion, deserves a 9 grade. Pretty cool card, though. People love this art. Saito. Definitely popular. Okay. And then a few Yu-Gi-Oh cards here. Fun story behind these. This was like 2020. Of course, everyone's going crazy for trading cards. And I'm just like, I'm unemployed during this time. Just spending a lot of time on the internet, TCG Player, and I'm noticing, okay, like Blue Eyes White Dragons, unlimited from SDK, you can get them on TCG Player, like played for like $10 or even less, like 7 to 12, I would say. So I was just thinking, like, you know, it's kind of like the unlimited Charizard of Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, maybe thinking about it a little too seriously, taking it a little too seriously. But I bought a ton of these Blue Eyes from TCG Player, and as I expected, TCG Player condition is like pretty inconsistent, and sometimes that's to your benefit when you buy enough. So some of those light play Blue Eyes came pretty near mint. I think I bought like 20 or 30 of them, so not a small number, but I took the best and I sent them out. This one exactly, I think I cracked it from a deck, but I don't remember. I think one of them I cracked from a deck, and then 5 of them were from TCG Player. I think this is the theme deck one I cracked. And I did open a few Kaiba decks. I was not able to score 10, but we did get a bunch of 9s. Pretty cool. The 9s used to be like $700, $800. Really, really big cards. Nowadays they're around $220, which I think is a really fair price. The theme deck itself, they run for like $400 to $500, and for unlimited and like kind of like beat up condition, but the cards are fine. And most of the time you're gonna get a 9 out of that anyway. There's like a lot of centering issues. So if you are interested in a Blue Eyes to put next to your Charizard, I would recommend getting the 9. They're about $200, $220, which is kind of like what Charizard cost back in 2018 when I was buying mine. And I'm not saying it's gonna go up like crazy like Charizard did, but you know, it's just one of the most iconic trading cards ever. We all had this. This got a lot of people into trading cards in 2002. They got to play with Kaiba's Ultimate Dragon, and definitely recommend this card for most people's collection. And I was pretty lucky with the rest of them. You can see some of these faded ones. It's kind of maybe hard to tell the difference on the camera, but this is a faded one from one of the earlier prints of the deck. This is one got the PSA 8. Pretty good for light play. Light play. Really nice. I love the faded cards. This one also got the PSA 8. This is a little. This is the faded ones. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. So I think the faded ones are first, and then these like darker ones are second. And then these lighter ones came later. And these were actually being printed in like 2003. I could have these switched though. It could be that these were first, and then these were coming out when MRD was coming out, because this is when the printer started to get really faded in Metal Raiders. And this looks to me more like Legend of Blue Eyes. So I think, now that I think about it, it might be this is the order, and then they corrected it and kind of like got that modern coloring. So I have the darker ones and the faded. There was like some faded ones, and then like during the MRD times, and this is like 2003, even 2004. There was I started at Kaiba and I started at Yu-Gi Double Pack. I think it's called like Duel Masters something kit, whatever. Came with a promo and a video, like a VHS, and they had like lighter ones. So anyway, enough about that. So we got 2 8s and a 9. And then we've got another faded copy. This one got the 9. Really sick. I mean, these cards look so good. How can you not love that? And another PSA 9. Again, pretty good for light play. Let's get a bunch of these blue eyes out here. PSA 9. Got a whole fleet. Looks like Kaiba's briefcase in here. And then the last Yu-Gi-Oh card, we have the 2004 Slight for the Sky Dragon, YMA promo. This is the secret rare version. It also has an ultra version, I believe. Although I could be thinking of the Game Boy promos there. They made a lot of these. As with like Yu-Gi-Oh, anyone who knows, they just print the same cards over and over again in different rarities and different editions, and it all really comes down to like what color is the name and what little code is right there. That's like the big thing in Yu-Gi-Oh. But this is a really beautiful card, and I had one of these when I was a kid. I felt like such a badass showing my friends. So cool. These like later on they printed them with like game text where they had the effect from the show and the manga and the anime. But these early versions, they didn't even bother. They're like, this is like, you're not going to play this. It just has flavor text, no effect, just has like the X 1000 attack and defense, and it says this card cannot be used in a duel. Just to hit you over the head with it, but that never stopped me. So, all right, pretty long video there. Really happy with the submission. A lot of 10s that came to my door 2 years later. A lot of personal collection goals checked off the list. Really glad I don't have to buy those cards. They are in my collection. And yeah, I'm so thrilled. I was like waiting all day for the mail. It finally comes at like 10:30 at night, but we got there. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you around.